Welcome to Storytelling Online. This is Coach Carol, and I hope that you enjoy the session for today. What is the definition of digital storytelling? I thought we might need to find out, first of all, whether this one fits very well for you. So in the storycenter.org, which is an American site, digital story is, as they say, a short first-person video narrative created by combining recorded voice, still and moving images, and music or other sounds. We need to consider what mode of telling the story we're going to use. And so this is where we've had a few discussions, Mary and I, about what could be possible for those who use the kiosks. So we settled on the use of the Google applications. Other means by which you can tell your story include such commercial products as Movie Maker from Microsoft or iMovie from Apple. And then the next thing that we need to decide once we've built our story is where we're going to store them in order for us to share them with our audience. In some cases, we may only wish to make a DVD and allow people to play that on their TV. Now that's an option. That's often used for those family stories and special events that you want to create. In other situations, you may want to share and store them in a public available site like SlideShare or YouTube. And then in making that decision, we have to decide, well, where can the audience actually view them from? So in this presentation, what I intend to go through is to show you a simple way of adding images to a Google Doc presentation, recording your voice narration in Audacity, and then uploading that into SlideShare. I thought it would also be useful for people to know where they can see finished products so that they get an idea of, well, how should I put my story together? You know, what makes a good story, especially those that I want to publish for the public viewing. So recently, I was given some of these lovely links to listen to particular stories. Now these are coming from a new program provided for us in Australia through ABC, and it's called Open ABC, which you can see here in the top corner. So it's their production that we're going to have a look at. And what they've done is they've given the story with the person speaking to a number of black and white photographs, and it's quite effective. This one is about Peter Brockhurst, who is a singing cobbler. And on the right-hand side, you can see some information about Peter, which is useful for someone viewing a digital story online. There are a number of these stories in the ABC Open area. As you can see as I scroll down in the site, there's some really fascinating stories being told by the person in the street, your friend, or your mother, or your grandchild. And they are all drawing on personal experiences. They're all about different personal experiences, moments in time, messages that they want to give. And I think these really give us a feel for the sort of stories that we may want to develop. Over here on the right-hand side, they have links to all the different areas in which this program is being developed. So do we have one for Bendigo? No, the closest to you would be Ballarat, I think, Ian. Let's pop over there to that one. And I've spoken with the man from the Shepparton ABC Open project, and we're going to get together so that we can get more stories from our local people here in the Hume region. But when we go over here to the Ballarat one, you'll see some more examples that have been created for that group. These are from an American site, and it's called the Center for Digital Storytelling. Now this is where it all began. These are the leaders in the field of this craft. And they are focused on getting the stories from the man in the street. And in this particular site, there are a number of stories, and you can flick through them by going to the more arrow down the bottom. There's a few funny ones, a few sad ones, and they are all under different headings, under different genres. So there's community. So I'll just flick over to community. And again, when I scroll down and I scroll across, I can see a whole range of different stories. And it's really the appeal of the voice in these stories that I think is most applicable to what I'm trying to say for you today. All right, that's enough of sharing those. The BBC Wales is one of my favourite sites, and I would invite you to go there too. I'll give you that link so that you can do that should you wish. They have been doing digital storytelling in their communities for some years now and are also leaders in their field. So there's your link to the Welsh ones. All right, now we want to get down to syntax. We want to learn something. We want to build a movie. And maybe even if we can make everything work today with the voice, we can demonstrate how you can record your own verbal story using Audacity. I find more and more people are wanting to tell their stories about ancestry with pictures and their voice, as well as their family tree. I've set it up now so that I can show you how to use a Google presentation for building a little movie. So I'm going to share applications again. Google Docs site. Lovely. And you'll notice that I've got quite a lot happening in my Google Docs these days. All down the left-hand side are all the different folders with all the Google Docs that are applicable to those projects. And the slides that I developed that you're seeing in Illuminate today were created in Google Docs. There it is there, the Storytelling Online. To create a new presentation in Google, you go to the Create New and you select which of the Google applications you want. So in this situation, we're going to use the simple presentation tool and start the process. There are some nice features in here. It's not quite as sophisticated as PowerPoint, which you may or may not be familiar with, but it has some really easy aspects that I think your clients will like. So here we are at the beginning of our newly created presentation. It doesn't have a name yet, so we first go to that, click on Untitled and give it a title. So I'm going to call it Family History today. And immediately changes the name there. And you'll see right beside it that at the moment it's completely private, so I can work on it, no one else can see. That's often something that people worry about when using Google applications. First of all, I want to format my slides and give a certain presentation to them, and I can have themes and backgrounds. So I'll change the theme, and we'll get something nice and colourful. Now I use that blue one, the sparkly one. Today I will use a rustic one. Okay, that might fit our little family history slideshow. And I give it a title. And that's my maiden name. And so I've got a little title slide all ready to go. So far so good. Just give me smiley faces to make sure you're still watching and able to see everything. And if you're really clever and you want to multitask, you could set one up for yourself if you've already got a Google account. And for those who are watching, you might want to do that too. So the next thing is to create some slides into which I can put some photos. So we go to Slide and create a new slide. And we've got some options for the slide layout. The best one to have for a plain picture is the blank one. I might just want to have a little more detail added here before I add my photos onto the other slides. So I'll do that first. And then I'll create a few more slides for plain pictures. I might just do 3 of those. So I've created the space into which I'm going to upload my photos. All right, on to this third slide now. I'm now going to add an image. So we go to the insert function. So it's all very simple and quite user-friendly and intuitive. So if we want to add an image, and then we browse to where we have our images online. And in my case, I need to go into Pictures and pick up my Ancestry pictures. Sorry if that's jerking a bit for you. I've got so many folders in here. It's a bit worrisome. All right, so here in my collection of old photos, I have some things to do with my ancestry, and I might pick up the Blackawton Church picture first and open it. So that part of it's done, and then I OK it to go into the slide. Okay, can you now see the picture of that part of the church showing? Good, okay. Go to the next slide and then just repeat the process. Insert image, browse to where they are. This time it will remember where I had come from, and I'll pick up the next photo, put it in place. Wait for it to show up. Do the next one. So insert image, browse. So as you can imagine, a lot of my genealogy is all to do with churches and gravestones and graveyards, etc., etc. I might have that one, it's a bit more colourful. And OK it. Now I'm doing this at random today, but the best way to do it, of course, is to storyboard your story. So lay it out in front of you, just in a piece of paper or online if you wish to, and know which pictures are going to form the story, and therefore how you start recording your voice to match what you've got in your pictures. So it's a very simple little set of slides now. So I'll just come back to this one, and this is going to be chapter 1. And this is all taking place in Blackawton, Devon, UK. And in there I'll add some details about which of my ancestors are actually featuring there. So I'm drawing together a little story, and it's more or less a moment in time. I'm not trying to do the whole of my family history in this one story. That would take forever and make a very big file. So another little clue for you is to keep it to a moment in time and record enough that would be no more than 3 minutes of viewing time. That's about the average capacity for viewing. So I've done all that, and you may or may not have noticed that it's automatically saving. So I just missed pressing the save button, but if I make a change down here, I'll just put a note for myself. And then if you look up, I can then use the Save Now button. But if I don't, it will automatically save for me. So that's one of the other nice things about using a Google application. All right with that? I could then start the presentation just to see what I've got and how it looks. And then I can just flick through them using the arrow keys. Can you see those as I flick through them? Yeah, good. Okay. So a bit rough and ready. I haven't done a lot of work on these in a short space of time.